The factory and farm used in the making of this training video observe ethical employment practices. They generously allowed us to film on their premises, but the audits and events depicted are entirely fictional. The working lives of people in farms and factories are of growing concern to consumers. The rise of public interest in ethical employment practice means large companies are taking seriously the need to audit their suppliers. But the one-off snapshot type of audit can't always be relied on to reveal violations of employment codes. There's an increasing awareness that quality of audit, not just outcome, is important.
A snapshot approach to social auditing is usually based on a social auditor, quite often an outsider, coming in for one day with a checklist. And it really fails often to pick up the more complex issues, such as discrimination, where the workers really feel free to join a trade union, and other issues such as abuse, particularly abuse by supervisors in the production process.
An alternative approach has been developed which helps to address some of these problems: participatory social auditing. The methods are highly adaptable to different sectors, countries and languages. Here, the workers as well as management are actively involved in a process of change. The aim is to help management comply with codes, not to catch them out.
If we are going to approach auditing as a one-off affair, employers are very much more antagonistic towards auditors. But if you can approach it in a developmental way, in which you can help them to prepare for it, show them the importance of doing it in certain ways, then do the auditing and facilitate the remedial action, you have a process and you are once again establishing a relationship.
Participatory social auditing is about communication between people, so training of auditors is critical. They should know and understand the cultural background of the workforce, speak the same language, and have training to deal with sensitive issues around gender and ethnicity.
I've spent 24 years doing development work, and the last 6 being involved in social auditing. I started off to work for the Ethical Trading Initiative with the first pilot project and actually pioneered this methodology. And ever since then I've been auditing and training social auditors. One of the biggest problems that you will find out when you're doing your auditing is that workers are totally unaware of their rights or of the legislation. So they don't know whether they're receiving what they should, whether the treatment is as it should be. They don't know anything about rights. And it's an area where this capacity building and training is key.
This approach to social auditing allows for capacity building. It aims for compliance by helping workers and management towards that goal. The auditors conduct a pre-audit, a kind of baseline inspection, so everyone knows what's required. Once it's clear what areas need improvement, there's time to put things right before the final audit, and hopefully compliance. The process starts with management.
So this is a process approach, a participatory approach, which is a developmental type of social auditing, which allows people to become fully aware of what is going to be expected of them by the time the audit comes along.
The awareness-raising session is the beginning of a partnership with management, aimed at improvement, not policing. Often they don't understand the standards they're trying to meet, so they pay for an audit and then fail. So the session starts with a discussion of the relevant codes.
There's also a requirement that all workers have a written contract of employment in whatever is their mother tongue, and that this should be signed by the employer and each employee. Is that actually happening here?
What about short-term employees? Do we need to give them contracts?
Yes, it's all employees should have a contract.
I think we might have to look at this.
We have peaks and troughs in business, so when we have the peaks, we tend to take a few people on.
When we do take them on, we talk to them and say, this is just we'll give you a call and can you come in and do a bit of work for us, and when it's finished that you'll go away, but we're not issuing them a contract, are we, for this?
No.
This exploratory process doesn't end in the boardroom. Management is expected to share the results of this session with the workers so that everyone is involved in improving conditions.
For a change, we're not nailing the producer or the owner of the factory, but we're saying the workers are as important to the compliance with any social code or technical code as management is.
The awareness raising sets the scene for exploring actual working conditions on site. The auditor will use 3 sources of information: workers, management, and records. They'll use 3 different tools, which allows for cross-checking of information: semi-structured interviews, focus group discussions, and an observation called a transect walk. This means they can collect qualitative and quantitative data. Semi-structured interviews are short and relaxed, with workers drawn from different categories. The auditor chooses a location away from management areas so the worker feels comfortable and assures them that conversations are confidential, anonymous, and voluntary.
Sophie, tell me about the relationship between the supervisors and the women workers.
There's this man, a supervisor, who's always touching the women, grabbing them, and they've had enough of him. I tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't listen, he just ignores me. So I got the other supervisors together to see if that would help. And we tried to think of a way to stop him, but we can't figure out what to do.
Do you know if the farm has a policy about this kind of problem?
They say there is one, but I don't know much about it, so I've never asked.
So, does this mean you haven't been able to do anything about it?
We did talk to him, me and the other supervisors, but he didn't take any notice. I really don't know what to do.
The auditors know that workers sometimes give them incorrect information, even intentionally, but they can check with other sources, using other methods, such as the focus group discussions. In a focus group, one auditor takes notes while the other facilitates. Where there's a significant female workforce, there will be at least one group that's all women, including the auditors. The style is conversational, the discussion is free-ranging, and the issues often sensitive.
I'd like to ask you all, does everyone get treated the same? Is there a difference in the way that the supervisor treats the women and how he treats the men?
Yes, there's a big difference.
Yes, the other day Andre walked past me and hit me on my bottom. And I said to him, "Why do you do that? I don't like it. Your wife has the same thing I have." I couldn't work, so I went to the supervisor, and she said to me, "Don't worry about it. He always does that."
The auditors will pick up on any issue that provokes strong feelings in the group and explore it, using an exercise like role play.
I'm going to ask Andre to get the boxes down. Good morning, Andre. What are you doing? I don't like that.
Calm
I've already
down.
got a man.
Take it easy.
No, I'm not taking it easy. Leave me alone, man.
Don't make such a big deal about it.
I don't
it's just
like
a
this.
joke.
No, man, leave me alone. Good morning, Krita. I'm really not happy. I asked Andre to take the boxes off the shelves and instead he hit me on the bottom.
I've spoken to Andre so many times already, but he just won't stop this nonsense. He keeps pestering all the women. And he has got a wife. You'll have to go and see the manager.
I'm feeling really pissed off. I am going to see the manager. Good morning, sir. I'm not very happy. I have to go home.
Why?
Andre keeps touching me, and I've told him, I have a husband, you have a wife. What's going on with him? I'm really not happy. I can't work like this.
Just go back to your work. The other supervisors and I will get together and discuss
This is the third time I've come to complain.
Look, they didn't bring this case to me when it first happened. Just go back to your work now.
If you don't take on my case, I'm going home.
Techniques like this reach parts of employment practice that other methods don't reach. Groups like women and contract workers often have the worst conditions and the least protection, yet are missed out during conventional audits. Early in the process, auditors will have designed a representative sample of the workplace, accounting for all the different categories of worker: permanent, seasonal, casual, migrant, and so on. But they're also very careful about how they choose participants for the sessions.
We select on-site to prevent management having the possibility to prepare them, to have the right answers. And it means everybody that is there at work on that particular day has an equal opportunity to be chosen.
Hello.
I can see you're very busy and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm sure you know there's a social audit on. And I was wondering whether you could spare a bit of time and come and join us in a group discussion.
Yes, I do.
We select in front of everybody, so it's clear that there's no hidden agenda as to why people are being asked. So I think that makes a big difference. It is only when the final audit comes that they will know whether they were able to trust you, because once the management in the factory start feeding back the areas that had to be addressed and no punitive action is taken, the people being audited will realize that they could trust you and that far from being punished, their issues have been taken seriously. Therefore, they feel important to the business. All right, so then let's move on to working hours, whether you're on full-time or short-time.
When the work's busy, they want us in, and so therefore you come in and you feel a bit guilty if you want that time off, and yet they can turn around the next day and say, well, we don't want you in
How
for
do people
only 3 days this week.
Look after their money, look after the family, if they don't know if they're coming or going from 1 week to the end, you know.
Does anybody else feel like that? Is that your experience for all of you?
If you have children, if there's no work 1 week and they've been booked into the creche, you still have to pay for that. And that there's your wages gone straight away then.
So there's financial as well as family difficulties. Okay.
If we just start with drawing the warehouse here.
In a mapping exercise, the auditor asks people from the same category of work to draw a map of their environment. This helps them relax together before a focus group and encourages quieter people to participate.
And particularly as you work in the warehouse, an important issue is around fire. Fire extinguishers, fire exits, etc. Now, if there was a fire, can you just go through, again with the red pen, just what would be the main exits which you would have to go out through? And what's the key procedures that you would have to follow?
There's an exit here. There's one here. There's 3 along the back wall here.
And would you all know what to do in the event of a fire? Which exit to go through?
It's never been specified, an exit really. I mean, everybody knows where the exits are.
We've never actually been told which extinguisher to use on what fire. We know there's different fire extinguishers there, but if you use the wrong one on the wrong fire, it's going to cause more problem. We've not actually been told.
Is there a trade union operating in the factory?
Yes.
And are many workers members of the trade union?
Not many at all.
Not many.
But I'm a member. I've always been a member of the union.
And do you think workers feel free to join a trade union if they wanted to join the trade union?
I've heard before that people who have joined have been turned down for promotions and stuff like that. So I personally wouldn't entertain the fact of joining the union. I'd rather go along with the rest.
If you're a member of the union, you might not get a job promotion
but you'll only
if something
be singled
goes
out
wrong.
if the union member is in the minority. If we could have a majority on union members, then this wouldn't happen.
The auditor cross-checks this information with a supervisor. To make him more comfortable, she uses his first language, Welsh.
Do you want members of your department to be members of the union?
Well, nah, ddim really, because...
No, not really, because I don't know what they do. And they have meetings all the time, and I wouldn't know what's going on in them.
If someone were going for a promotion and they were a member of the union, would that affect your decision?
Well,
at the moment, I don't really want anybody to be a union member. We're busy enough as it is.
Where would be the next one? I mean, there's such a muddle here.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of boxes here at the moment, obviously, with us being so busy.
Where would be the next one?
There's one here.
Auditors will ask people from a focus group to show them around an area where they work or live. They may use it to cross-check information from the discussion or to discover what's been left out.
So,
Yes, as you can see, yes.
No. Can't even get up the stairs.
No.
How would anybody get to the fire extinguishers? Do you actually know how to work those?
There's specified people who get taught how to use them, but not everybody gets taught how to use them.
Let's talk about the toilets and sanitation. Do you have toilets inside the house?
Yes, we do. But sometimes there isn't any water, so they don't work and we can't use them.
So what do you do when you can't use the toilet?
We just go in the big communal toilets behind the house, but they're dirty.
So who cleans the toilets?
No one cleans them. I do my own, but no one ever comes to clean the communal ones.
So is there something you can do yourselves about the problem? Is there a committee?
No, there isn't any committee.
A participatory audit can verify whether structures such as workers' committees are absent or just not being implemented properly.
OK, you've told me there's a committee here on the farm. Is everyone aware of this committee?
Yes, I know about it.
And do you know who's a member of the committee?
I know a committee exists, but I don't know the names of anyone.
Are there other people here who don't know who the members of the committee are?
I know there are people who are supposed to look after us, but I don't know who.
Participation takes different forms with different types of workers. For example, those with lower levels of literacy can use a tool like the wheel diagram to assess which issues are most important to them. The matrix ranking exercise involves workers making more complex judgments about their priorities.
Then if we look at the long overtime hours that you're having to work and the different rewards for the overtime, which would be more problematic?
It depends what your situation is, doesn't it? If you're a mother,
yes,
or if you're a young single person that has no attachments,
no commitments.
All the time, if you look at it as a mother,
I would go that because I
if you're
haven't got that
single,
commitment.
it's the rewards. If you're a mother, it's long hours.
Okay, so that's the long overtime hours.
Using information gathered from all their sources, the auditors will feed their findings back to management, including areas that need improvement and what action should be taken. This will be done at the end of both pre-audit and sometime later, the final audit.
But it's very important to look at it not just as a set of standards, but also to realise that these are goals. They are goals for being better producers, better managers. They're management tools. And inevitably, the best producer is also the best manager of personnel.
What we're really looking for is a much more sustainable process where employers become really into line with legislation, with core ILO conventions, without even necessarily having to be audited to ensure they do that. And that is actually much more sustainable in the long run and of much greater benefit to workers.
If you make people feel they're part of the process, you motivate them. The humanitarian aspect of the way in which we do the audit is to make people feel that that they have some kind of dignity, that they have some self-respect, the feeling that what they are involved in is of value, and that I know does happen.
Betula